Hi friends, welcome back. So I want to have a chat with you about how the world really works, and we're going to use the example of Elon Musk and kind of the drama going on with him right now. This is going to be a complicated topic, and if you want to essentially better yourself, I think you'll like this video. I'm going to try my best to sort of explain how to read the world and how to understand it. And let's just jump right in. So you can see here, this is a tweet coming out. It says, Tim Long, I can't stop thinking about this. Elon Musk has just unveiled his master plan, okay? His goal to replace your bank with X by the end of 2024. Here's how X is becoming the next everything app. And this particular tweet gets 776,000 views. I told you guys, explain to you how the world really works. So Tim, does he believe this stuff? Who knows? I have no idea what's going on in his head. But what I do know, if you tweet out praise for Elon Musk, it'll get boosted on Twitter and you make money. This stuff, though, a lot of it is BS. And I'll tell you why in a moment here, but I just want to show you that everyone's piling on how awesome Elon is. They're going to make everything app. Twitter is going to be a bank, and Farzad, he does this stuff all the time. He's one of the pumper people. It's weird. He puts like full 40-minute videos of conferences and stuff like that, or speeches on his channel. And I don't really know how he gets away with it. To be really frank, I don't just like literally put a completely another source's content entirely on my channel. It's strange. I don't get it, but it is what it is. Maybe he's got to deal with YouTube. Who knows? But the reason why I know this stuff's nonsense is because, guys, in the USA, we have anti-monopoly laws. So, and I can tell you, I'm here in Korea. There's a company called Kakao. They can have all kinds of taxi services, messaging app, banking, all these kind of stuff. In China, it would be like your WeChat or Tencent. They can combine all these apps together. In USA, it's not possible to put all this stuff together because we have anti-monopoly laws. So I already know this is a non-starter, but it's fun to talk about, especially if you don't understand how the world really works. I mentioned this stuff because, guys, and I encourage you to read my book. I grew up in a very, very small town in Oregon, and actually multiple towns I talk about in my book, and ended up making it to the Ivy League, which I'm very proud of. And in fact, Musk and I went to the same school. Musk, on the other hand, though, I grew up with emerald mines and models for mom. I'm not making it up. And this is something that is important to understand, is that if you've never had exposure to people like Musk, you wouldn't know. You just accept everything that he says it must be true because he's so awesome, right? That's what people say. They say, "Oh, Chris, Musk is a billionaire. Everything he says must be true because he's so awesome." This is sort of why I want to teach how the world really works, guys. So look at this, for example. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says he favors no tariffs on Chinese EVs. Like, why would he say that, guys? And this is essentially designed to protect Tesla, isn't it? Right? If you don't want BYD coming to the country to compete with Tesla or other Chinese manufacturers, you want to put tariffs on that to protect them. One of the things that you should understand, though, and if you guys have been following the story, you would know, there's a high chance that Musk has made some sort of crazy deal with China. He never says anything bad about China. He doesn't. If you ever watch him speech stuff, whereas he'll say F Biden, F this politician, F that company, F Disney, right? But he never says anything bad about China. And moreover, like he won't say bad things now that China should have tariffs on it. It's crazy. And what I want to point out, though, is oftentimes where you get your news or how you understand the world sort of paints the facts, right? And I want to give you examples. So, in this case, I read you guys and I try to show you everything. Here's another headline. Tesla's Elon Musk wants to use Chinese data to boost AI-powered self-driving cars, right? So how do you read that, right? We know basically he wants to do a deal in China. You could read it as, he just wants to make a bunch of money and he's a businessman. Okay, that's one way you could read it. Another way you could read it is, hey, he wants to escape regulations in USA and do all his testing in a place that's unregulated in China. And say, okay, that's how I read that. It's my personal reading. And if you want to do that kind of thing, you got to make some sort of deal, right? And so, if you don't read too deep and stuff, you just accept everything at face value. But I'm just telling you guys, the stuff that people say in public isn't necessarily what's going on behind the scenes exactly. So here's another one. NVIDIA CEO, Tesla far ahead in self-driving tech as autonomous driving efforts boost chip demand, right? And Jensen Huang from NVIDIA is like, oh my God, Tesla's so awesome. They're so awesome. And then all the pumpers are see, Jensen says Tesla's awesome. See. And again, I want you to think about, why would Jensen say this kind of stuff in public? Why? And so this is how I read this. Jensen and Elon got some sort of business thing going on here. In my opinion, right? I think Jensen knows that Elon wants to do an AI startup kind of thing and is thinking, hey, I want to sell a whole bunch of chips to Elon. I want to get all that money from him, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't necessarily want to say anything bad about him in public. That's how I read that. Does Jensen really believe Tesla is ahead of self-driving compared to all the other companies? I doubt it. But is he going to say that publicly? No. He wants to do business with Elon. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? A lot of this stuff is what people say in public and what people say behind closed doors are two different things. And if you've never been behind closed doors, you wouldn't know. You would accept the stuff as face value. Here's another example. So this is just recently, came out 4 minutes ago. SpaceX weighs a plan to sell shares valuing firm at $200 billion. So basically, SpaceX needs to raise more money. And so publicly, they're going to come out and say, oh, we want to share our love of space with everyone. Please give us money, right? And I read this, and I'm like, huh. Are you guys short on money, right? Why do you need money? And it depends how you want to read it. And the fact is, though, you can see that they're, at least they're talking about it, right? Here's another example. And I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. The things that people say in public may not necessarily match what happens behind closed doors, right? Always question these things and just figure it out. And this is sort of why we have discussions about this stuff. There's a rumor going around that Elon Musk had an affair with the Google founder, Sergey Brin, the Google founder's fiance, not their wife, I should say, not the not the Google founder. And I guess it was Nicole Shanahan, and the rumor is like they were doing ketamine together and other stuff, and they was at a party and they just started going at it, and then ultimately, I guess she got divorced from Sergey. This kind of stuff, I don't read too deeply into it, other than nothing surprises me anymore in this world, and it is what it is. The thing that's crazy is that these pumper people that say, oh, they're just, the mainstream media is just a bunch of liars. They're just making stuff up. Like I don't ever come out and say that kind of thing, because it's just like, if it comes out to be true that these people cheated, and who knows if we'll ever know the truth, you look like a total moron if you just like say this stuff. But this is what these people do. They'll just say, oh, whatever Elon says is the truth. So, do I know if this fair is true or not? Who knows? I don't care that much, but it wouldn't shock me. That's all I have to say about that. And this brings a comment I want to read of some member of a community. This is from Duke Nukem. This person says, Musk is a stupid person's idea of what an intelligent person sounds like, and Musk plays to this. I've always said he got his visions from teenage sci-fi comics, and you made a similar comment in your last video about the tech props and graphics in 1980s film. As an engineer, I read his Hyperloop paper, and it's obvious Musk isn't one, meaning engineer. Sadly, politicians, bankers, and most media still think he is, but he is just a salesman. And it's actually really funny. So I read Musk's book by the Walter Isaacson, and the book is hard to read because there's a lot of BS in there. There's facts in there and BS, but it's all mixed in. I'll show you guys an example of what I'm talking about here. But regarding the whole 1980s thing, actually, it was interesting. In the book, they described that Musk had met James Cameron, the director of Aliens and Terminator, and whatever they talked about. That we didn't go in great detail, but yes, that's where Musk gets his influences from sci-fi movies, and also to he joined I think it was I want to say it was like a Zen science group. It was like a fan club kind of thing to talk about this kind of stuff, and part of his sort of dream was to build a thing on Mars. Not that he had any social engineering, behind it, just that he saw it in movies. He was thinking, okay, I'm going to send rockets to space with rats in it, but I don't want to see the rats die. That won't be very popular. So okay, I'm going to send rockets to Mars and put plants in it and show that we can do that. like the stuff that he comes up with is basically out of movies. It's not necessarily science based. But yes, if you're and try to be nice about it, but if you have inexperience or lack of education, or you're not an engineer, you just think, oh well, Elon Musk is a genius. First it was rats, but then he realized it's plants, and now it's going to be humans or whatever, right? He changes stuff all the time, what he's going to say. And I want to point this stuff out, guys, is that sometimes people just flat out lie. Sometimes they do. And I want to give you an example. This is one of the Musk pumpers. This is funny. There's an account on Twitter called Tesla Troll. And I just listen to what the person says. It says, I learned a new thing today. You lied to someone in your comment section acting like you don't know who Chris Nolan is. And people have actually mentioned this before. They've said during live streams of other, YouTubers, I'll ask them, hey, what do you think about Chris Nolan's video, etc. The common line these people give is that they don't know who I am. And the reason why they do that, and all the FTX YouTubers, exactly the same thing. is because you don't want to acknowledge that I exist because I kill you. Not in a literal sense, but in a you know, I come with facts, right? That's it. And when someone speaks the truth, it's way more damaging than someone who's a crazy lunatic. So this is the comment was Roland5951 3 days ago. Are you part of the Tesla cult? Chris Nolan says Tesla's finished. You need to do a reaction video. And then Warren Redlick, who's one of the pumpers 1 day ago, I'm all in with the cult. Don't know Norland. Right? So he's claiming doesn't know who I am. The funny thing is that on January 30th, 2024, he actually tweeted about me. So the guy who claims he doesn't know about who I am, Warren Redlick, tweeted about me on January 30th, 2024. He clearly knows who I am. I'm going to say right now, Chris Nolan is pathetic, obviously copying the look of Steve Mark Ryan. That's a tweet, and you can read all the comments of people debating whether or not I'm pathetic. Moreover, Warren, the guy who claims he doesn't know me, he subscribed to my channel. I can see it right here. He subscribed on January 22nd, 2024. Again, the things that people do in private is very different than what they say in public. And Thunderfoot is also subscribed to me. People who ask me about him sometimes, he subscribed on May 12, 2024. And he's used content from my videos in his. I know it because I had spelling and a mistake error in my video. He used that content and he left the mistake in, which is fine. I just find it amusing. Guys, I want to go over a couple of things too in the book on Musk, because some people had asked about what about the early days of Elon, how much is true, not true. And it's actually hard to know for sure because it depends how much you believe Elon and also to understanding who is a sycophant, who kissed up to Elon, etc. Now, actually, I wouldn't show you excerpts of the book except for the author actually really wants to share this stuff. This is Walter Isaacson. He tweeted out May 23rd, 2023, like literally his book. He actually wants people to read Robotaxi, and he writes, Robotaxi coming. And it's actually funny because I feel like he's expecting people actually to not read what's in the book or understand it. And I want to go over this with you guys. And again, I want to show you how the world really works. And this is more advanced level stuff. So for those of you who've never had this kind of education before, I think you're in for a real treat. And you might not know I was a professor about 10 years, and this is the kind of stuff that I like to teach. So this is some of the writing from the book, and you have to learn how to read this stuff. So this is just one sentence, and the book is filled with, or two sentences. The book is filled with all this kind of stuff. So let's just read it together. For the second time in 3 years, Musk had been pushed out of a company, okay? He was a visionary who didn't play well with others. And this is the question I pose to you when you read this kind of stuff. What is fact and what is the author's opinion? Okay, look at it. For the second time in 3 years, Musk has been pushed out of a company. He was a visionary who didn't play well with others. Okay, so the facts are, yes, second time in 3 years, Musk was pushed out of a company. And you can argue, which word to use, kicked out, pushed out, fired, right, whatever. It's clear in the book that a lot of people don't like working with Musk. That's pretty clear. And part of, how do you interpret this? Well, if you want to kiss up to Musk, you say, well, he was pushed out of the company, 2 times the last 3 years, but he's a visionary, right? And that's where the book is a bit of a kiss up to Musk. It's written a lot like this, and he describes Musk in terms of Steve Jobs like all the time throughout the book, and I read this stuff and I was like, oh, okay, and I roll my eyes, and but I would agree with this part. Didn't play well with others. I would agree with that, but visionaries remain to be seen. So right, that's the kind of stuff that's in the book. Let me read some more of the stuff in the book. I want you guys to understand this, and again, think about what's fact and what is the author's opinion. Okay, here's another part. Here they're talking about the Robotaxi. I mentioned this prior video, but I just want to show you what's actually in the book because the author tweeted this stuff out. Our main focus has to be volume, Musk said. There is no amount that we could possibly build that will be enough. Someday we want to be at 20 million a year. And I laugh. And if you're completely a fanboy, fangirl of Musk, you take everything he says truth. So put this in context, guys. 20 million a year. Toyota right now sells about 10 million cars a year. So Musk is basically saying we're gonna sell, twice as many cars that Toyota makes with these new Robotaxi things. It's just ludicrous. Right, twice the size of Toyota. Okay, but I get it, guys. I get it. If you're a fanboy, fangirl, you don't question anything. Musk said it. It must be true. They're going to sell 20 million cars a year, twice the size of Toyota. Right? Yeah. And people who love Musk, you think, oh, Chris, you're just so mean. You don't understand. He's a visionary, right? Do you guys know what I'm saying? You got to read the stuff with a grain of salt. Here's another part. Here's another part of the book. A central challenge is figuring out how to design a car with no steering wheel or pedals that could meet government safety standards and handle special situations. Week after week, Musk weighed in on every detail. And this is some quotes from Musk, I guess. What if someone forgets to shut the door of the robotaxi when they get shut out? He asked. We have to make sure it can shut on its own doors. How would a robotaxi get into a gated community or a parking garage? Maybe it needs an arm that can punch a button or a ticket, right? I mean, think about these considerations. But that seemed like a nightmare. A quote, perhaps we just exclude it from places that you can't easily drive into, he decided. At times, the conversations were so earnest and detailed, they were belied how wild the entire concept was. And this sort of captures sort of like what's going on here and what's not. So they include a few quotes that may or may not be like the exact quotes, who knows, but it gives you a sense of what the conversations were. And then you can see that they were talking all about all these kind of stuff. And part of it, and I just want you guys to understand this, what goes behind closed doors and what's in public is different. It's very clear when you read through the book, though, that the engineers are like, dude, you're crazy. But Musk has got the money. He was born rich. He's got the money. And this is part of, and he got a little bit lucky too with the whole Zip2 thing. And that's a whole other issue, like how much he actually did. It depends how you want to read the book and how much you take Musk on his word. Let me give you an example. So this actually happened. Musk bought a McLaren. You can find the old video over at CNN. And I understand if you love Musk, you hate CNN, but I'm telling you, it's on the channel if you want to watch it. It says, watch young Elon Musk get his first supercar in 1999. And you know, this is my opinion. I think he looks like a geek. Not to be mean, but it's obvious from his behavior as well. You can see it. And also too, just my opinion. You guys can decide you agree with me or not. I think his fiance is pretty attractive, named Justine. I can see it right there. And yeah, you can see her behavior. And when you see them together in the video, it's let's just say this. I lived long enough to know that sometimes people marry other people because they have a lot of money. And you guys can agree or disagree with that assessment, okay? See, and I just tell you sort of facts and sort of how I read the world. And it's funny because when you watch this video, he's getting a McLaren and Musk is like jumping up and down and dancing, which is fine. I think a lot of people would do that, maybe myself included. But I really read it as he's pretty geeky in this. And it's funny when you watch the video, the CNN's try kind of, and and I understand if you hate CNN, whatever. But they're trying to show the absurdity of these young kids who get this money during the internet bubble, right? This is back in that. So a lot of people got really lucky during that period. There was money flying around like crazy because everyone knew that there was all this opportunity. And what's interesting about this stuff is they even describe in the book that Musk got into a car crash. Now, you know, to what extent people got hurt, who knows? I mean, it's like... It's hard to say, and it's in here. I can read a little bit about it. Actually, I can just tell you. It's like, yeah, it's right here. The rear axle broke, and the car spun around, and he's with Peter Thiel at the time. The rear axle broke, and the car spun around, hit an embankment, and flew into the air like a flying saucer. Parts of the body shredded, so basically Musk was out joyriding with Thiel. Actually, they're on the way to work, but Musk was going too fast. Thiel, and practicing libertarian, was not wearing a seatbelt, but emerged unscathed. So I guess he like flew out of the car or something. I don't know, who knows. Or I guess he stayed in the car. He just wasn't wearing a seatbelt. It's just so I tried to read this stuff. He was unable to hitch a ride to Sequoia offices. Musk, also unhurt, stayed behind half an hour to have his car tow away, then joined the meeting without telling. So it's like when you read this stuff, I showed you the car. It says the rear axle broke. It says they flew up in the air like a flying saucer, and then neither of them were hurt. Was I there? I wasn't. Does that sound like something that could happen, that you could get you fly in the air and like both of you are unhurt? And so I've talked about this stuff before in the book. Like some of this crap in the book just doesn't make sense. I'm like, all right, and I just roll my eyes and just like whatever. I don't. It's the same as the fair stuff. I just don't read too much into it. It's like whatever. It's Elon Musk. He says all sorts of crap. But some people want to embellish this stuff. Some people not. Here's another part of the book I want to read with you guys. And describes Musk and his style. It says here, some people were playing a high stakes game of Texas Hold'em, right? Poker. Although Musk was not a card player, he pulled up to the table, quote, and this is, again, it depends who's saying it. Was it Musk saying or someone else? This is someone else. There were all these nerds and sharpsters who were good at memorizing cards and calculating odds. This is coming from Legend, one of the people that worked with Musk. And they had their... was to say they didn't like each other. Elon just proceeded to go all in on every hand and lose. Then he would buy more chips and double down. Eventually, after losing many hands, he went all in and won. Then he said, right, I'm done. it would be a theme of his life. Avoid taking chips off the table, keep risking him. So you have to understand here, like this stuff here, this is coming from the author now, okay? And then the author paints sort of this go all in on every hand strategy as being a good thing. You have to understand like what is fact, what is author, and then also too, is this part even real, right? Who knows? Like the way they describe this stuff. I'll read a little bit more and you can see. That would turn out to be a good strategy. Quote, look at the two companies he built on, SpaceX and Tesla, says Thiel. Silicon Valley wisdom would be both these things were both crazy, incredible bets. If two crazy companies work out that everyone thought couldn't possibly work, then you say to yourself, I think Elon understands something about risk that everyone else doesn't. And, like I said, you guys can decide what to make of this stuff. And there's another example. This is a headline today. Brad Pitt, I guess he had some sort of car accident in his Tesla. The headlines read it glitched out and there's Brad Pitt, etc. Do I know exactly what Brad Pitt said? No, I have no idea. Do I know exactly if it's a, autopilot malfunction? I don't, but I can see there's a car wreck. And this is the kind of stuff, and I'm trying to put all this stuff together because when I read the news every day and have a chat with you, I say, hey, this looks like what's happening, and then I give you my opinion, but I delineate. I make it really clear what I think is my opinion, and also to why I have said opinion. I don't necessarily accept everything that Brad Pitt says at face value. If Brad Pitt says, I got in a car crash with my Tesla, but I love Elon Musk, right? And I look into it, I'm like, okay, do you have a business deal with Elon Musk? Like, is there something going on there? And that goes back to what people say in public and what goes on behind closed doors are two different things. And if you've never been behind closed doors, you would have no idea about this stuff, right? You'd just be like the Farzad guy and say, oh, everything Elon Musk says is awesome. So I hope you guys understand this point of view and sort of why I have these conversations with you. I completely understand when people who read the Musk book, they think everything is true in it and stuff like that. I get that because they think, okay, if Musk said it, it must be true. But when you start to develop your experience and your education, you'll read into things a little bit more and you'll understand the world a little bit better. And I hope that my channel is more enlightening and helping you to see sort of how I read this stuff. And I take a look at everything. And that's something that I stress with you. Look at everything. And that's for any investment you make, any relationship that you do, or any kind of business dealing. So thanks again for your time, everyone. And I'll catch you all in the next video.